I have no choice but to start the process. So I've started the process. I don't feel good about it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel good about it because again, this is an elderly couple.
So, Sasha, did you tell me you were busy doing an eviction?
So yes, this week I contacted my processor that I normally use for evictions to actually serve this couple. And it's a really sad situation, to be honest with you, because it's a couple that have lived in this unit. It's a fourplex that my clients bought, investor clients. They bought it 2 years ago. And so these tenants, they're in their late 60s, I would say, maybe. Yeah, late 60s.
So they're on a fixed income.
Correct. They are on a fixed income. They've been paying $1,200 for a 1-bedroom. It's a pretty spacious bedroom, 1-bedroom with a yard, right? And and I've given them verbal warnings, right, for the past year that hey, there are new owners. And there's a possibility of these owners wanting to renovate the unit for higher rent. Because as we know, the market has
exploded is the word.
Exploded.
Yeah.
And so, just putting it out there, right? Putting it out there. And so now my investors have already renovated 2 of the 4 units, okay? And they feel like this is the unit they want to renovate now. So
you gave them the 60-day notice.
I gave them the 60-day notice.
And 60 days came and went. And I can almost guarantee friends out there watching that this elderly couple that's on a fixed income cannot find another unit in Miami-Dade County at $1,200.
Yeah.
And so this is a topic that I think touches home for a lot of us.
A lot.
Because we understand what it is to be a homeowner and have the potential of receiving more income for your property.
Yeah.
But on the human side, and sadly to say this, on the realistic side to say this, it is the fact that incomes have not really kept up with the increase in the cost of living in South Florida.
Absolutely.
And so this is a topic that is kind of, disheartening because as real estate professionals, and Sasha, this is a question that I'm going to kind of throw back at you because this is something that touches me regularly. I see this all the time where I have clients that, they're like, hey, I was paying $2,200 on a 3-bedroom. Now that same 3-bedroom is $3,500. What solutions do you find that you're giving to your clients? Because I struggle with this regularly.
Well, the solution is to downsize, right? Or because, again, you're in a 3-bedroom, like you mentioned, right? It's going up, more than 5%?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going to find another 3-bedroom that's going to be at a lesser cost? Unless you move to a completely different location.
At which point you have a struggle with qualifying for it because now if you're of the working class, then you have to find another job potentially closer to wherever you're going to need to move to in order to sustain or continue having, that 3-bedroom somewhere else, So it's that. This is a tough video to do. This one's tough.
It's really hard because I mean, how do you tell somebody who's been comfortably living in a 3-bedroom that that can't pay the $3,500 rent? What do you tell somebody? What do you how?
I've been struggling with this. I kid you not, since 2022, 2023. Because I mean, keep in mind that as interest rates were lower, right? People were selling and making buku dollar for their property. However, on the flip side of things, when they went to buy, they realized that all that money that they made, they had to give it right back into a property. So they, in turn, decided, well, we're going to rent for a year. And that was one of the many factors that created the influx or the increase in the rents for people. Because then you're competing with home sellers that have made all this money and they're able to compete with you and pay a year in advance.
Right.
A factor also in the defense of the seller, and I stand by the sellers all the time, they've had a pretty big increase in their homeowners insurance policies.
Across the board.
And so they're going, the taxes. Anybody that bought during this past, I don't know, from
2021?
More or less,
yeah.
Up until now, their property taxes are up the wazoo.
Absolutely.
And so you can't blame a homeowner who's actually paying higher property taxes for having an investment property.
Correct.
To not raise the rent.
Correct.
So I think both sides, are to a certain degree struggling with the current state of affairs, because even for them, they have to figure out how they're going to pay the increase in their expenses as homeowners. Yeah. But then, to top that,
business is business, right?
Right. But then it's a bigger risk too for a homeowner as they increase the rent, because there is a higher probability that the tenant that they put in there gets factored. What do we do as realtors? Why don't we tell everybody what it is that we do as realtors when we're qualifying on the listing side? When we're qualifying a tenant, what is our general requirements?
You mean as far as what? Like
as far as qualifying a potential tenant, yes.
Right, income. Income is a huge
factor.
So
what's the average, guys?
The 2.5 times the rental.
So if it's a $3,500 a month rent.
Right. So you need to make 2.5 times that in order to qualify.
So are you saying that a family of 4 needs to make approximately $8,000 to $9,000 a month?
Pretty much.
Divide that by 40 hours a week. Divide that by 2 adults.
No, I get it. Listen, I get it.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I do these numbers, and I'm just like,
listen, I get it. And going back to this particular couple, okay, and I'm the bad guy. At the end of the day, I'm the bad guy because I manage this property, right? Mm-hmm. And there's that back and forth disagreement. He's like, well, how are you gonna put an old man who's disabled and I'm a veteran? How are you gonna put me out in the streets? I'm looking at this man. And his wife, and all I can think about is my grandmother. That's like putting my grandmother out in the street. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
And that's got to be difficult for you.
And it's difficult for me
absolutely.
To have this conversation and to even say, oh my gosh, like, am I really going to start this process? Now, I did it right away. I did it. I actually tried to help them. So this property is in North Miami. Okay. My uncle has a kind of an extensive portfolio in the Little Haiti area, right? Okay. And his rents are a little bit, it's still low, in certain areas. And so I reached out and I said, hey, listen, I need help. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything under maybe $1,600, $1,500 that I can possibly put these people in? He goes, yeah, I got you. Mm-hmm. I reached out to the couple and I said, Mr. W, look, I found a place for you. It's in a 8-unit building in Little Haiti. I'm not interested. I didn't even finish my statement. I'm not interested. I'm an old man and buildings are for young people. And okay, you know what? Mr. W, at this point, I'm really trying hard to help you here. Oh, what are you trying to say? I can't afford anything. I can't afford. And I said, that's not the point, obviously. I mean, You've been paying $1,200 all this time.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. Second time, I have another friend that's like, hey, I could possibly help you.
Okay.
I guess somebody's been talking his ear because he's like, you know what? You do what you gotta do. There's a process. I'm a veteran. I can get the help that I need. Okay, great. I'm so happy for you.
And there are rental assistance programs out there.
Yes.
I've seen them.
Yes.
However, it is to my understanding that those programs get tapped out
Absolutely.
very quickly. It's kind of like Hometown Heroes.
Absolutely.
Like, the basket runs empty real quick.
Exactly. So again, I'm not saying he's not getting the help, but in the meantime, my clients are expecting their rent. Right? So I have no choice but to start the process. So I've started the process. I don't feel good about it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel good about it because again, this is an elderly couple.
Yeah.
So if they don't get the help,
I mean, again, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, you guys, because this is an elderly couple and I sympathize. Okay, we sympathize with our elderly, with our vets.
Of course.
Anybody.
Anybody.
Anybody. Right. Anybody for that matter. But in particular, in their case,
right.
You're trying to help them, but imagine a 4-story building and you got 60-year-olds trying to go up. That's even potentially oh my God, not a risk. Kind of a risk. There's a word for it though. When somebody has the likelihood of having an accident.
Oh.
And then, the insurance policy for the building, that's a potential risk because, you're talking about 60-year-olds going up 4 flights of stairs.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Like,
no, but
it's a pickle, man. Like I just, to say that,
it's tough.
It's tough. And I would love for our audience, our other real estate professionals in the industry, for anybody else that
can give their 2 cents or any feedback as to what have you done in a situation like this?
How do we help people? Help us help people.
How can we help? How can we help you?
Yeah, seriously. Like we are here to provide a service.
Right.
This is what we do.
Right.
And
it's not always black and white.
Yeah, it really isn't. But the goal for us is to be solution based. And so we know the problems. And that's what we're discussing here today. We know the problems. We're just having a bit of a struggle finding the solution to this. So, we'd love to get your feedback. If you guys happen to have a 1-bedroom,
a 1-bedroom in North Miami for a couple under $1,500.
Give us a holla.
You know where to find me.
There you go. And this was Word on the Street.